For decades, people around the world have reported seeing enormous black triangular aircraft moving silently through the night sky. No visible engines, no normal flight patterns, sometimes hovering motionless before accelerating away at impossible speed. Eventually, one mysterious name became linked to the sightings: the TR-3B Manta, a rumored secret aircraft said to use advanced propulsion technology so powerful. Some believe it could manipulate gravity itself. But before we get to the TR-3B, we need to understand how the world arrived at a place where something like this could even exist. Because the story doesn't begin in a desert test facility. It doesn't begin at Area 51. It begins in the ruins of Nazi Germany. The year is 1945. World War II is ending. Nazi Germany is collapsing. And the United States government is racing against time, not just to win the war, but to win what comes after it. Because buried inside the ruins of the Third Reich was something America desperately wanted: the most advanced scientific minds in the world. On May 8, 1945, the day Germany surrendered, American intelligence teams were already moving through German cities, factories, and underground laboratories. Their mission was code-named Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip was a secret United States intelligence program in which more than 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians were recruited and brought to America. Many of them had direct ties to the Nazi Party. Many had used concentration camp prisoners as slave labor. But the United States government looked the other way, because the Cold War was coming, and America needed their knowledge. The most famous of these scientists was Wernher von Braun. Von Braun was the technical director at Peenemünde, the secret Nazi rocket facility on the Baltic coast where the V-2 ballistic missile was developed. The V-2 was the world's first long-range guided ballistic missile. It killed thousands of civilians across Britain and Europe, and it was built using slave labor from the Middelwerk underground factory, where more than 20,000 prisoners died from starvation, exhaustion, and execution. Von Braun knew this. He visited the facility. He personally selected workers from Buchenwald concentration camp. And yet, after the war, his Nazi past was quietly buried. His records were altered. His SS membership was hidden. And Wernher von Braun was given a new identity as an American hero. By 1960, von Braun's team had been transferred to NASA. He became the chief architect of the Saturn V rocket, the most powerful machine ever built by human hands. On July 20th, 1969, that rocket carried American astronauts to the moon. The same man who built weapons of terror for Adolf Hitler helped put humans on the moon for the United States of America. That is not conspiracy. That is documented, declassified history. But here is where the documented history ends, and the deeper questions begin. Operation Paperclip brought over the rocket scientists. But conspiracy researchers and some historians argue that something else was recovered from Nazi Germany, something that has never been officially acknowledged. Among the most controversial claims is the story of Die Glock, German for the bell. According to researcher Igor Witkowski, who claimed to have seen classified Polish government documents, Die Glock was a secret Nazi experimental device, bell-shaped, approximately 9 feet wide and 12 to 15 feet tall. It was said to involve 2 counter-rotating cylinders filled with a mysterious substance called Zerum 525, described as a violet metallic liquid. When activated, it reportedly generated an intense energy field. Witnesses described strange effects. Nearby plants crystallized, animals died, and several scientists working on the project reportedly died from exposure. The project was allegedly overseen by SS General Hans Kammler, the same man responsible for building the concentration camps and the V-2 underground factories. Kammler disappeared at the end of the war. His fate has never been officially confirmed. Some researchers believe he was secretly brought to America, along with his most classified projects. Then there are the Nazi flying disc programs. German documents and post-war testimonies describe experimental disc-shaped aircraft developed in the final years of the war. The most famous of these alleged programs were called Honebu and Vril. Officially, these are dismissed as wartime propaganda and post-war mythology. But some aviation historians point to real German experimental aircraft programs, including the Horten Ho 229, a flying wing jet aircraft that was genuinely developed and test-flown in 1944. The Horton Ho 229 was a real aircraft. It used a flying wing design, no tail, no fuselage, just a smooth, curved wing. Sound familiar? The B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, which entered service in 1989, uses almost the exact same flying wing design. Coincidence? Or the result of decades of development that began with captured German technology? To understand the TR-3B, you need to understand the black budget. The United States government operates what is known as a black budget classified defense and intelligence spending that is hidden from the public and from most members of Congress. According to documents leaked by former NSA contractor Edward Snowden, the black budget for fiscal year 2013 alone was $52.6 billion. That is just what was leaked. The true figure may be significantly higher. This money funds special access programs, the most classified military and intelligence operations in the United States government. Some of these programs are so secret that even the President of the United States may not have full access to them. The most famous producer of black budget aircraft is Lockheed Martin's Advanced Development Programs Division, better known as Skunk Works. Founded in 1943, Skunk Works has produced some of the most revolutionary aircraft in history. The U-2 spy plane flew at altitudes of 70,000 feet, far beyond the reach of any known aircraft at the time. For years, the government denied it existed. The State Route 71 Blackbird, the fastest air-breathing aircraft ever built, capable of speeds exceeding Mach 3.3, was developed in secret in the 1960s. The F-117 Nighthawk stealth bomber flew combat missions for years before the public even knew it existed. Every single one of these aircraft was once considered impossible. Every single one was denied by the government before being declassified. So when people ask, could a craft like the TR-3B exist without the public knowing? History says yes. It has happened before, multiple times. In the late 1980s, aviation enthusiasts and defense analysts began noticing something strange in the United States defense budget. A line item, labeled simply Aurora, appeared in the 1985 Pentagon budget request. It was listed under the Air Force's procurement budget. The amount, $455 million for fiscal year 1987, rising to $2.3 billion by 1989. No aircraft by that name was ever officially acknowledged. But the rumors spread quickly through the aviation community. Aurora, they said, was the SR-71's replacement, a hypersonic reconnaissance aircraft capable of speeds exceeding Mach 5 or even Mach 8. Some witnesses near Edwards Air Force Base in California reported hearing a distinctive pulsing sound, described as a skyquake, that rattled windows across Los Angeles. Seismographs recorded the events. The Air Force denied any knowledge. And then there is the TR-3B itself. The designation TR stands for Tactical Reconnaissance. The TR-3B is described by those who claim knowledge of it as a large, triangular, nuclear-powered aerospace platform developed under a black program. According to Edgar Fouché, a former defense contractor who publicly claimed knowledge of the program in the late 1990s, the TR-3B uses a system called the magnetic field disruptor. Fouché claimed the MFD generates a rotating magnetic field that disrupts or neutralizes gravity's effect on mass by approximately 89%. This would mean the craft's engines only need to provide 11% of the thrust required to move the vehicle. The TR-3B is said to be approximately 600 feet across, nearly 2 football fields in length. It is described as having 3 main rocket engines at each corner of the triangle, and a glowing plasma-filled circular ring at its center. The plasma, superheated ionized gas, is said to create a field that reduces radar cross-section, reduces friction with the atmosphere, and contributes to the craft's near-silent operation. Now, none of this has been officially confirmed, but the witness accounts span decades, continents, and thousands of people, including military personnel, police officers, and trained pilots. Between November 1989 and April 1990, Belgium experienced one of the most extensively documented UFO events in history. Thousands of people across the country reported seeing large, silent, triangular craft flying low over cities and countryside. The Belgian Air Force took the sighting seriously enough to scramble 2 F F-16 fighter jets to intercept an object that had been tracked on radar. The radar showed the object performing maneuvers that defied known physics, accelerating from near stationary to over 1,000 miles per hour in seconds, and dropping from 10,000 feet to 500 feet in under a minute. The F-16 pilots attempted 9 separate intercepts. They never made visual contact. General Wilfried De Brouwer, chief of operations of the Belgian Air Staff at the time, initially suspected the craft might be an experimental American aircraft. He contacted American authorities. The response: no USAF stealth aircraft were operating in the area during the periods in question. On the night of March 13, 1997, thousands of residents across the state of Arizona witnessed one of the most dramatic mass UFO sightings in American history. A massive V-shaped or triangular formation of lights drifted slowly and silently over the city of Phoenix. Some witnesses estimated the craft was over a mile wide. Former Arizona Governor Fife Symington, a trained Air Force pilot, later admitted that he personally witnessed the event. He described it as unlike anything he had ever seen. Years later, he said, "I'm a pilot and I know just about every machine that flies. It was bigger than anything that I've ever seen. It remains a great mystery." In December 1980, United States Air Force personnel stationed at RAF Woodbridge in Suffolk, England, encountered something in the nearby Rendlesham Forest that has never been explained. What they found, according to multiple witness statements, was a glowing, metallic, triangular craft resting on the forest floor. Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt personally led a second investigation 2 nights later. He recorded the entire event on an audio cassette, documenting radiation readings, flashing lights, and objects moving through the sky. That recording still exists. Halt later stated publicly, "I believe the objects that I saw at close quarters were extraterrestrial in origin, and that the security services of both the United States and the United Kingdom have attempted, both then and now, to subvert the significance of what occurred at Rendlesham Forest." Setting aside the question of whether the TR-3B exists, let us ask a different question. Could it work? Is the technology described, magnetic field disruption, plasma propulsion, gravity reduction, scientifically plausible? The answer is more complicated than a simple yes or no. Plasma technology is real. Plasma, ionized gas, is already used in experimental aerospace applications. The U.S. Air Force has researched plasma stealth technology, which uses ionized gas to absorb radar waves and reduce a craft's radar signature. Magnetohydrodynamic drive, using magnetic fields to propel ionized fluid, is a real concept that has been studied since the 1960s. And anti-gravity research, while officially dismissed by mainstream science, has a longer history in classified military research than most people realize. In the 1950s and 1960s, multiple American aerospace companies, including Boeing, Convair, and Glenn L. Martin, ran classified anti-gravity research programs. The programs were eventually shut down, or at least officially shut down. Whether the research continued in black budget programs is unknown. Then there is the testimony of Bob Lazar. In 1989, Lazar, a physicist who claimed to have worked at a classified facility called S4 near Area 51, went public with extraordinary claims. He said he had been hired to reverse engineer the propulsion system of extraterrestrial spacecraft. He described a propulsion system based on element 115, an element that did not officially exist at the time. In 2003, element 115 moscovium was synthesized for the first time by Russian and American scientists. It was officially added to the periodic table in 2016. Lazar had named it 26 years earlier. Whether Lazar's full story is true remains deeply contested, but the element 115 detail is difficult to dismiss. Then comes one of the most controversial parts of the conspiracy. John F. Kennedy had publicly warned about the dangers of extreme secrecy within powerful institutions. In speeches, JFK spoke about secret societies, hidden power structures, and the risks of governments operating beyond public oversight. One famous speech, delivered on April 27, 1961, to the American Newspaper Publishers Association, warned against, "The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings." Kennedy continued, "We are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice." Conspiracy theories later connected these warnings to hidden military and intelligence programs, including the rumored Majestic 12 group, allegedly formed in 1947 to manage the recovery and reverse engineering of crashed unidentified craft. The Majestic 12 documents, a set of allegedly classified government papers, surfaced in 1984. They claimed that President Truman had authorized the creation of a secret committee of 12 scientists, military leaders, and intelligence officials to oversee UFO recovery operations. The FBI investigated the documents and declared them fraudulent, but UFO researchers have argued for decades that the FBI's dismissal was itself part of the cover-up. And after Kennedy's assassination in 1963, those theories exploded. Some people began wondering, did JFK discover something dangerous? Was he planning to expose hidden operations? In 2025, the United States government released more than 77,000 pages of previously classified JFK assassination records. The documents revealed extensive CIA covert operations, surveillance programs, and intelligence activities that had been hidden from the public for over 60 years. They revealed that the CIA had withheld information from the Warren Commission, the official investigation into Kennedy's death. They revealed that CIA officer George Jones, who had been in contact with Lee Harvey Oswald's associates in the months before the assassination, had concealed his role from investigators for decades. It's important to separate documented history from speculation. There is no verified evidence directly linking JFK's assassination to the TR-3B, UFO programs, or anti-gravity technology. Historically, investigations concluded Lee Harvey Oswald acted as the gunman. But the 2025 document releases confirmed what many had long suspected. The CIA was not fully transparent about what it knew, what it was doing, and who it was watching in the months before November 22, 1963. And secrecy itself became fuel for even larger theories. For most of the 20th century, the official position of the United States government was simple. There are no UFOs. There is nothing to investigate. Move along. That position began to crack in 2017. On December 16, 2017, the New York Times published a bombshell investigation revealing the existence of a secret Pentagon program called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or ATIP. The program had been running since 2007. It had been funded with $22 million in black budget money, and it had been investigating UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, including encounters between U.S. Navy pilots and objects that performed maneuvers no known aircraft could replicate. The same article included declassified video footage from U.S. Navy F/A-18 jets, showing objects moving at extraordinary speeds, rotating in midair, and appearing to defy the laws of physics. The videos were real. The government confirmed them. Then came David Grush. On July 26, 2023, former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer David Grush testified before the United States House Committee on Oversight and Accountability. Under oath, Grush stated, "I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program to which I was denied access." He claimed the U.S. government possesses multiple spacecraft of what he called non-human origin. He claimed people had been threatened and killed to keep these programs secret. He claimed he had interviewed over 40 witnesses with direct knowledge of these programs over a period of 4 years. The Pentagon denied everything. But here is the critical detail. Grush did not claim the objects were extraterrestrial. He used the term non-human. He left open the possibility that these craft could be from another dimension, another time, or, perhaps most intriguingly, the product of a human civilization operating in secret for decades. Could the TR-3B be what Grush was referring to? No one outside the classified world knows for certain. If the TR-3B is a real aircraft operated by the United States military, where would it be based? The answer points to a very specific region of the American Southwest. Antelope Valley, a stretch of high desert in Southern California, has been called the Aerospace Valley of the United States. Within a short distance of each other lie Edwards Air Force Base, where every major American experimental aircraft has been tested since the 1940s. United States Air Force Plant 42 in Palmdale, where the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber was built. And the Nevada Test and Training Range, which includes the infamous Area 51, also known as Groom Lake. Area 51 is real. The CIA officially acknowledged its existence in 2013. Declassified documents confirmed that the U-2, the A-12 Oxguard, and the State Route 71 Blackbird were all tested there. But those programs are now decades old. What is being tested there today? The base has expanded significantly since the Cold War. New hangars have been built, new runways have been extended, and the airspace around the facility is among the most restricted in the world. History shows us a clear pattern. The United States government denies the existence of a technology. Witnesses report seeing it. The government continues to deny. Years, sometimes decades, pass. The technology is finally declassified, and the public learns that what they were told was impossible was flying over their heads the entire time. The pattern is consistent. The pattern is deliberate. And the pattern suggests that whatever comes next, whatever is currently being denied, will one day be revealed. The question is not whether the government has secret aircraft. We know it does. The question is how far beyond public knowledge those aircraft have advanced, and whether the TR-3B or something very much like it is already out there. Silent, triangular, waiting. That's what keeps the TR-3B mystery alive today. It sits at the intersection of captured Nazi science, Cold War black projects, advanced aerospace engineering, government secrecy, and one of the most debated assassinations in history. Truth, rumor, fear, technology, all blending together into one modern legend. The story of the TR-3B is not just a story about a secret aircraft. It is a story about what governments do when they decide the public cannot handle the truth. It is a story about the scientists who were given unlimited resources and zero oversight. It is a story about the witnesses, the police officers, the military personnel, the ordinary citizens, who saw something in the sky that changed their understanding of reality. And it is a story about the gap between what we are told and what is actually happening. So is the TR-3B Manta a real classified aircraft hidden from the public? A myth created from Cold War secrecy? Or evidence that some technologies were developed far beyond what governments admit? In 2025, the United States government released thousands of previously classified documents. In 2023, a decorated intelligence officer testified before Congress about secret programs involving non-human craft. In 2017, the Pentagon confirmed the existence of a secret UFO investigation program it had denied for years. And every single night, somewhere in the world, someone looks up at the sky and sees a massive, silent, black triangle moving through the darkness. Maybe the strangest part is how little the public truly knows about what happens behind closed doors. The truth is out there. Whether it is classified, denied, or still waiting to be discovered, it is out there.